Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Hello if you're new here, I'm so glad that you have joined. We are doing a huge reading wrap up because I realised that I missed February, so I thought I would just conjoin February and March and tell you about 20 or so books that I read over the last 2 months. It hasn't even been up and down. Like, I don't feel like I've read anything particularly bad, but nothing has really blown away apart from 2 5-star reads that I did have, and those books actually have become 6-star reads. Complete god tier books have changed my life. Let's get into it. These are actually going to just be in no particular order in terms of which ones I read in February and March. We're just going to talk about all these books. I've got some very interesting opinions. Some books that I've been really looking forward to that did not look up to the hype. Some books I've read that I hadn't really been that bothered about and have become some of my favourite books that I've read recently. There's a lot to discuss, so oh my god, these are gonna fall. So let's just get straight into it. I'm actually stuck. I'm actually stuck. Okay, we're doing this. Please don't fall. Okay, they can just all live back there. I did not choose the right jumper to wear. I am absolutely sweating. I think I'm attached to a book. Yeah, I was. It's so hot today. I don't know why I'm in this knitted jumper, to be completely honest with you. I think we will begin with 2 books that my 2 favourite reads that I've had ever, that I've had so far this year, that just absolutely blew me away. And that is the Bittersweet Symphony duet by Kate Stewart. So book 1 is Drive and book 2 is Reverse. Oh man. The way my heart feels even just thinking about these books, and I have not stopped thinking about them since I read them, which actually was probably around a month ago, absolutely altered me as a person. So a quick synopsis. So Drive follows Stella, who at the beginning of the book, she's about to board a flight and she gets some news that somebody is getting married, and we don't know who this somebody is. She is heartbroken, quite upset, can't get on her flight, decides to take a drive to the destination she's supposed to be going to, and plays this playlist, and literally every single chapter there is a song that Kate Stewart advises that you listen to, and I really recommend doing it because it makes the book play out like an absolute film scene. Like, it's just changes my reading experience, I think. And I also often like associate a lot of scenes that are clear as day in my head with certain songs that were playing alongside it. But she basically goes on a drive, has this playlist on, and then takes us back and explains to us this story, and just takes us back basically to a time which just explains how she got to where she is now. And it is a love triangle. Now, I know that people love or hate it. It's one of my all-time favourite tropes. I love the heartbreak that a love triangle brings. And it's a love triangle between Reed Crown, who is a up-and-coming rock star, and then there's Nate, who owns a up-and-coming magazine. Now, Stella wants to be a journalist, so she wants to work for Nate's magazine. And through doing that, she then gets to cover Reed and his band and follow their journey. And it's all about her relationships with Reed and Nate, and it spans over several years, and it just, oh my god, like, it just blew me away. It honestly left me speechless. This book was incredible. It breaks your heart, it pieces it back together, you're rooting for one or the other. It depends, like, I don't know if you've read this book, let me know in the comments. Are you a Reed or a Nate girl? Let me know. I was a Nate girl. I don't want to get too much into why, because I feel like it will give away for anybody who hasn't read it who she ends up with. But anyway, just an absolutely incredible book. Then Reverse, which I actually loved even more than Drive, I didn't know that was possible, follows Natalie, who is Nate's daughter, and then Easton, who is Reed's son. I'm not going to tell you whose parents are whose, but just know that they are son and daughter of 2 of the adults that Drive basically follows. So this is like years and years in the future. I think it's something like, is it 30 years or 20 years or something in the future from the events of Drive? Natalie basically finds out something that she wasn't supposed to see, and she goes and seeks out Easton because she wants answers about what happened between their parents all those years ago, and through that they end up falling for each other. However, what happened between their parents all those years ago was so traumatizing and broke so many hearts and everything that they know that they are never going to be allowed to be together. And the angst and the tension and the yearning in this book, the push and the pull, we're in love and who cares what anybody else thinks, but we can't do this, and then it's like a forbidden love, it's a secret relationship. Honestly, the yearning in this book absolutely tore me to shreds. But this was absolutely incredible. I want to reread these books already. Kate Stewart, just every single time, she just absolutely tears my heart out and stomps all over it, but in the best way possible. These books are the books that you read and you think, this is why I read. You know, when you come across those books that are just so special, that is how I feel about these books. They were absolutely amazing. God, I got so passionate there. I got super passionate about those, but I love those books so much. Okay, let's get on to my most interesting read of my entire life, which was Split and Swallow by Lindsay Stroud. I feel like I need to gather my thoughts for a second to even figure out where to begin. A mild synopsis. This is a fantasy basilisk shifter romance. Now, just saying that, let me just preface this by saying I cannot believe that this book has been traditionally published so somebody can walk into a bookstore, pick it up, and not have any idea what is between these pages. And I know what's in here. And I honestly feel like it needs to come with a, like, proceed with caution, absolute caution sticker on it for all of these unsuspecting members of the general public that could potentially go and pick up this book. Let's just leave it at that. What did I read? I gave this book 4 stars. I thought it was actually really good. If I was being really picky, I think the world building is really bad. I have so many questions as to why this world is the way it is. But basically what happens, I think we're set in the past, or some kind of version of our world that is like behind where we are right now. And there's a king and a queen and a prince. The prince gets to choose and court, if I remember correctly. I think it starts out with maybe 20 or 10 girls. I can't quite remember. So much happened in this book that honestly, those sorts of details, not, you know, negligible to me. There's so much more that happens that's overtaking my brain. There's these basilisks, and now there's like a bit of a war, if you will, or like a civil war between the basilisks and the humans. And the basilisks have ended up being like ousted, and they have to train these girls when they come of age to be able to please the prince in that way, okay? And so that, first of all, that in itself is just crazy. And then Tem and Caspin end up being paired up together. So we follow Tem and we follow Caspin. And then there's also the prince in this. Name is Leo, I believe. There is kind of like a love triangle aspect to it that kind of ends up almost being a bit why choose. And basically Tem falls for Caspin, who is her basilisk, who's teaching her how to essentially please Leo. The stuff that goes on in here, I don't even know if I can talk about it on YouTube. I don't even know if I can say it out loud. It is so wild and so crazy. And you know when people say that about books, I'm like, can it really be that bad? I'm telling you now, this is the spiciest book I've ever read in my whole entire life. I wanted to throw this book at a wall. I was like, what is going on? Lindsay, what did you do? What did you do? It was absolutely crazy, but I still gave it 4 stars. I honestly don't know what that says about me, but I actually had a really good time. I really had to sit and stare at a wall for a while after I finished it, but I can't deny that I enjoyed it. Moving on to a book that I am so shocked at how much I enjoyed. So Bauble and Lies by Victoria Wilder. I have not enjoyed a contemporary romance like this much in a very long time. I think I ended up rating this 4... Did I give it 4 stars or 4.25, or did I give it 4.5 stars? I can't quite remember. I feel like I was wanting to give it 4.5, but maybe I gave it like 4.25. I'm not quite sure, but you can check my Goodreads if you want to know exactly what it was. I think it was above a 4-star read for me. I really, really, really enjoyed this. So basically, Lainey is essentially put in WITSEC, or witness protection, and gets sent off to, what's the name of the town? Fiasco, that's it. Gets sent off to Fiasco to the Fox Brothers estate, where they make and supply bourbon, and they're very famous for it. And there's 3 Fox brothers, and they believe that they have a curse because all the women in their life have they have had tragic accidents happen to them, so they think that they are cursed. Lainey turns up, and Grant Fox, who is the moodiest and grumpiest of the brothers, does not take very kindly to her being there. He's quite grumpy, he's not very welcoming, and it is a great grumpy sunshine because Lainey just won't leave him alone. It's kind of funny, she kind of like purposefully winds him up. She's very like happy-go-lucky, like a ray of sunshine. I really liked her character, and Grant is the complete opposite, but he has his own demons and things that have happened to him. And it just basically follows them to finding each other and falling in love with each other. And the found family in this as well was so good. There is an underlying plot, which is the reason why she was in witness protection, and that person also being like coming after her. The only thing about that is I feel like it could have been explored a little bit more. I think it was all wrapped up quite quickly at the end of the book, but I adored this. And let me just tell you, the mouth on Grant Fox, literally made me blush. It made me blush, it made me sweat. What a guy. I loved the romance, I loved the plot. It's a small town cozy feeling, and I just had such a great time with that book. I was really, really pleasantly surprised because contemporary romance is quite difficult for me to really, really love, but I also think it was like all the found family element to this. I'm so excited to read the second book, because that's Lincoln's book. We've already obviously met him in this. I'm very excited to get his story, so really, really recommend that. Okay, I read Blood of Hercules by Jasmine Maz, and I gave this 4.75 stars. It was so nearly a 5-star read for me, and I'll tell you why it wasn't in a second. This was not what I thought it was going to be, but in the best way possible, because obviously I really enjoyed it. This is Greek mythology. So Achilles, Patroclus, that's how you say his name. I feel like I always get their names wrong. It's got all of those sort of like Greek myths and Greek gods and all that lore involved in it. However, it's like set in the future, but it's like a dystopian world. It kind of reminded me of like the Hunger Games, but make it Greek mythology, but then also splash in a bit of like the Avengers, where the people, like say for example Achilles, people would be like obsessing over them online and watching them fight, and there's all these like these wars between the Spartans and the Titans, and a lot of politics in it. I did find it a little bit difficult to pick up and follow at the beginning, but she does have a whole guide that you can keep referring to at the front. It's a really, really clever world. I really enjoyed it. It's nowhere near as spicy as I thought it was going to be. There isn't really anything spicy until you're about 80% of the way through. I obviously didn't mind that. I just was expecting like this really spicy white choose romantasy, because that's what I kept seeing, but no, that's not the case in this at all. And let me just tell you, this book was so funny. I was laughing out loud. It's very dry. I almost feel like it's British humour. Very dry, very sarcastic, so funny. Best who did this to you trope. Really good plot twist at the end. I just had so much fun, and it's got like trials, and they're kind of like it's almost like a military-esque trials where they need to become Spartans. And Alexis, our FMC in this, she was just so great. And I also really enjoyed the disability representation in this as well. Like, I just thought this book was just so, it had it all. It literally had it all, and then some. Only reason I didn't give it 5 stars is just because in the middle of the book, I did feel like I was reading the same day over and over and over again. It just kind of got a little bit repetitive. I hate it when people say, oh, this book was so funny, this is like a rom-com or it's like a dark comedy. I never tend to find them funny, laughing out loud at multiple points in this book, so I really highly recommend it. It is worth the hype. Okay, let's get into the Deception trilogy by Rena Kent. I rated every single book in this 3.5 stars. I have never been so disappointed by something that I've been looking forwards to as I have with the Deception trilogy. I think for me, there was a number of reasons. Before I get into it, if you don't know what this is about, this is a mafia romance, dark romance, and it is quite dark, and it also has like secret identity, forbidden love, forced proximity, arranged forced marriage, like all those tropes in it. What I didn't like about this is I've been reading Rena's, like the Renaverse in order. So when I got to these books, I started to see a lot of copy and paste of other storylines that I've already read in this book, in terms of like the swapping of identities, the amnesia trope, the way that the MMCs are literally all a copy and paste of each other. They just, I don't really feel like I can distinguish much between like Adrian Volkov in this book, or Kyle Hunter, or Sebastian Weaver. Like, they just all read the same to me. I love the Royal Elite series. I think at the moment it's my favourite series of hers, purely because I think all of them, all the storylines are different, all the plots are different, all the characters are different, and they've got their own distinctive personalities. Most of the men that I've read since then just seem to be a bit of a copy and paste as each other. And then Adrian was a copy and paste and then some, because he just kind of freaked me out. Like, I didn't like him, and I didn't like him from book 1, which I also think is why I couldn't really get into the books. He was just giving me the creeps. The spice in this was just not my cup of tea. It was just really weirdly like forced to me, and you do find out why, and then it's supposed to make you feel better about it, but it just didn't, it just still didn't sit right with me. I found it kind of traumatizing to read, to be completely honest. Like, I just felt my heart just breaking constantly for Leah, to the point where it was making me uncomfortable, and I kind of wanted to just dive into the book and help her. Book 1 is very confusing. Everything makes sense when you get to book 2, and then book 3 wraps it all up, but I just still didn't love it. It just felt really flat for me, and I'm so disappointed because it's one of the trilogies that I've been most excited for. I know that everybody loves Rena Kent. I'm not saying that these books are rubbish. Please don't come for me, because I know that people who adore her are really die hard for her. I'm not slating the author. It was purely the storyline, the tropes, and the way it was executed was not not for me. I don't think 3.5 stars is a particularly bad rating because I flew through these books and I was enjoying them in some aspects. I just think when I look back on it, it was just quite a traumatizing read. It was quite dark. And I read a lot of dark romance, so I was like, it was just all a bit weird, very repetitive like other storylines that I've read. Before reading the Deception trilogy, I finished off the Empire series. Now, the Empire series isn't actually a series. There's 4 Empire books and they can be read as standalones. I just read them one after the other. This is my second favourite Rena Kent series after Royal Elite. Absolutely loved this, and it's because it's set at a law firm, so it's set at Weaver and Shaw or something law firm in New York, I believe, and I just really enjoyed this series. But these were the last 2 books that I had yet to read. I think I rated one of them 3.75 and then 1 4 stars. I very much enjoyed Kingsley and Aspen's story. It's such a good enemies to lovers. In fact, one of the best enemies to lovers that I've read. It was really good. And then this one was Nicole and Daniel. Is it Daniel? Do you know what? There's so many characters in her Renaverse that I get confused at this point. But I believe it was. Yes, it's Daniel. Daniel really took me by surprise. I could not believe this was the same Daniel that is Astrid's friend from Royal Elite that we read in those series. I know obviously he's older now and stuff, but I just could not believe. I thought he was like super sweet. He's not sweet. He's definitely not sweet. But no, the Empire series is like one of my favourites, and I did have a really good time with these books. I really enjoyed them. Yeah, I also read Phantom by Brea Rivers. I think I rated this 3.5 or 3.75 stars. This actually took me a week to get through, partly because I went on holiday halfway through, but I do think still, regardless of that, I was only away for 4 days and it still took me like another 4 days to finish it when I came back. This is a Phantom of the Opera retelling, and I do think for dark romance as a palette cleanser, so it's not the same recycled plot that you tend to find, it's really fun. I just didn't connect to the 2 main characters. I actually can't even remember their names, so I think that says a lot. I think one's called Sol, or have I made that up? Let me just try and find their names. I feel like it just says a lot. Yes, Sol, and what's the girl's name? Oh, do you know what? I can't even remember. But I just didn't fall in love with them. It's kind of like, it's set in New Orleans and I loved the setting of it. And like I say, it's Phantom of the Opera retellings. They're performers essentially, and it's sort of like all the backstage things. There's 2 rival families in New Orleans. It's giving rival mafia, but make it New Orleans, you know? I didn't dislike it. I think I just really enjoyed it at the time, but it just didn't blow me away, and I kind of haven't thought about it since. But I did really like the twist of like the Phantom of the Opera twist on a dark romance reimagining, and I loved the setting of it. It was such a great setting, like a really good vibe. I could really like put myself within the pages of the book. It's just unfortunate that it didn't have like a long-lasting effect on me, and that's okay. Like, that happens, especially when you read so many books. There are going to be books that really just take over, that you enjoy a lot more. This is just kind of got lost in the background for me a little bit. But I am going to continue the series because the other ones do also sound really good. So I read the first 2 books in this series by Holly Renee. I don't know what the series is actually called, but the first book is A Kingdom of Stars and Shadows, and then the second book is A Kingdom of Blood and Betrayal. There are 2 more books in this. I didn't continue just purely because I don't own the other 2 books. They are on Kindle Unlimited, but I'm a freak and I don't want to read a book that I don't own on Kindle Unlimited. For some reason I want to own the book, stare at it on my bookshelf, and then read it on my Kindle at night. I seriously, I don't know why I'm like this, but I just am. So I haven't finished it yet because I want to buy the other books. But I had a really good time. Fantasy, it's vampires and fae. It's 2 rival families, and basically Adara, she is what's the word? It's not star-crossed, star-blessed. She is star-blessed, which basically means that she has this magic running within her that the court need. Like, they need her. So she has to go into like an arranged marriage. She's known about this her whole life. She hates her mum for allowing this to happen because she doesn't want to be a part of any of this. When she comes of age, they pick her up, they take her off to the palace. And then there she meets the prince, and then also the prince's brother, who becomes her love interest. So she's meant to be with the prince. She falls in love with the prince's brother, and the prince's brother has a few secrets of his own. And that's all I'm going to say. It was so fun. It's very fast paced. It is really spicy. Dare I say, to the point where maybe sometimes just too much spice and not enough plot, where I was actually skim reading some of the spice because I was like, oh, they're at it again. and I was just kind of skim reading to get to the next part of the plot. But the tension is really good. It's very angsty, it's very fast paced, it's just really fun. Like, it's just a fun time. I do want to finish the series, but I do have a feeling that this is going to be one of those series that this time next year I still won't have finished it, even though I will want to, if that makes sense. Okay, coming into a book that if you are a seasoned dark romance reader, you absolutely need to read this. This is Hunt Me Darling by Marie Rose. This is an MFM stalker serial killer romance. Oh my god, was this spicy? And was it dark? Oh my god, it was so dark. If you like masked men, if you like chasing through the woods, if you like all sorts of kinks, you will find all of that in here, alongside actually quite a good plot, because sometimes when books are that spicy, the plot kind of gets lost amongst the spice. Not the case for this at all. I actually was going to go straight into book 2, but then I realised that actually the second book it's not like a follow-on, so I just decided to take a break and pick that up another time. Really, really recommend it. There's really good twists and turns in it. If you like your books darker, you'll absolutely love this, I can guarantee it. Coming on to the worst book that I have read, Satanic Shadows by Lee Rivers. I did not enjoy this. I think I gave it 2 stars, and I think that was quite generous. Lee Rivers is one of my favourite authors, so it pains me to say this about her, but I'm not going to pretend I liked a book just because I liked the author. I just don't think that she should write fantasy just yet, or if she's going to, she needs to explore fantasy a bit more, because the world building was so bad in this. I honestly felt like I was just reading present day. Like, I did not feel like the world building, there was no world building at all, absolutely zero. There's a point in the book where the FMC, because I don't remember their names, meets the MMC. It's all of a sudden it skips like a month, and in that time they've met. So you're telling me our 2 love interests are going to meet, but we're not going to get to see any of it, and then we're going to skip to a month and they already know each other. That is the best part. When they meet each other and they don't like each other and they're enemies and the push and the pull and the backwards and forwards, like, and we didn't get that. We completely, why would you leave that out? I just don't understand. Didn't understand the magic. I think he's like a bit of a shadow daddy. You don't really get to see that much in this, and I just felt like the plot was really, really lacking. The last like 10%, I was like, what? How did we get from here to here? I was a bit upset because I love Lee Rivers, and also just the writing style in general is not like her Edge of Darkness trilogy or Web of Silence duet. I just not really sure what happened here. I just don't think fantasy maybe is her thing right now, and that she should just stick to dark romance. It just was not fleshed out at all. It needed in my opinion, it just needed so much more fine tuning. I feel like I've just slated it, but I'm just gonna be honest. Washed in Blood, which is the first book in the Broken Bloodline series by Sadie Kincaid. New author to me. Also vampire romance, which is one of my favourites. It's Why Choose Vampire Romance, and do you know what this really, really reminded me of? Vampire Diaries. And I love Vampire Diaries. I will continue to rewatch that series till the day that I die. I can never get enough of it. I think I've rewatched the whole thing like 4 times already. And this really reminded me of it because it's literally set on like a kind of campus. Is it like a university campus? And there are witches, werewolves and vampires on campus, and not everybody knows that they exist on there. Alongside that, the actual lore and like the history and the plot and where this book is headed, like this series is headed, was so interesting. The prologue was absolutely phenomenal. I think the rest of the book kind of became, it's easy reading, it's fun reading. It's not, a literary masterpiece, but it's just so much fun. I think I gave it 3.75 stars. I definitely think book 2 and 3 will be more exciting because it's going to really explore what we read in the prologue. Ophelia is a special girl, but doesn't know it yet. So it's that whole kind of like suppressed magic and things like that she doesn't know how special, how powerful she is. She bumps into these 3 vampires, and I think they're trying to like literally off somebody, and she walks in on it and tries to stop it, and then they decide to look out for her, but just also because they get this vibe from her, because obviously with their vampire powers they know that she's special. There is also a professor in this who has taken a bit of a liking to her, and it's the typical Why Choose dynamics where one of them's quite cheeky, one of them's quite moody. She's really has a different relationship dynamic with each one of them. It's just really fun. Was it absolutely mind-blowing? No. But am I going to continue the series? Yes, I need to buy them. But am I going to continue it? Yes, because it's just so fun, and it really just gave me all the Vampire Diaries vibes, and I don't really know why. If you've read this book and you agree with me, let me know in the comments. I actually read this in a vlog. I think it was like a 24-hour reading challenge, and I flew through it, and it was just such a good time, and I can't wait to go back to that world because I really, really enjoyed it. Metal Slinger by Rachel Schneider. absolutely loved this. This is one of those fantasies where you get so much adventure, and there's like, again with this, it's elemental magic, suppressed magic, adventure like literally across the sea to like another land. So much tension and angst in this, and one of the most jaw-dropping plot twists I have ever come across in my entire life. I think actually I was reading the plot twist in my vlog, and I just didn't even know what to do with myself. I had to go back and reread it to make sure that I'd actually read it correctly. Like, that's how much it shocked me. This was really, really, really fun. And I don't know how many books are going to be in this series. There's obviously definitely another one coming, but I really can't wait to read it. I need to know what happens next, because I'm stressed. I'm stressed about what happened in this book. But if you love tension and angst and false proximity, then what more are you going to love than two people literally stuck on a boat for about 30% of this book, maybe even 40% of this book, stuck on a boat together, going backwards and forwards between each other. But then also, like, there's a little spark of something there. It's so great. I read The Poisoner by Ivy Ophelia. Really, really enjoyed this. It's a very different take on dark vampire romance. It's set in Victorian London. Alina is a botanist, and Silas, is his name Silas? I need to check. Oh, this is the thing when you read so many books, all the characters just blur into one. Pretty sure his name is Silas. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm sure it's Silas. Silas is a vampire. Now, these creatures, people don't know walk amongst them, and Alina discovers them. They enter this game of like this cat and mouse stalking. It's got, the stalker trope is done really, really well in this. And then whilst that's going on, they start to get feelings for each other. There is also another character in it. I believe his name was Alex. Here's me trying to give you guys a wrap up. I can't even remember my characters' names, but I've read like 16 books since I read this. He has got a bigger part to play than you first believe, and it's just such a good vampire romance. I really like the way she made her vampires in this. They're very, very different to others that I've read. Like, she's got her very own unique take on them. I really enjoy this, and it's really nice, and it's like dark, and the vibes are immaculate in this. This whole Victorian London setting, so good. I could really, really, really picture it. Writing is really good. 10 out of 10 for the writing. Beautiful. And I can't wait to read book 2. I literally can't wait to read book 2. And I love the cover. I said this book, I don't know what it is because it's quite simple, but I love it. And then the last book to talk about is The Curse of Ophelia. Now, at the time when I read this, I think I was a bit let down by it, and I rated it 3.5 stars. I still stick to that rating. However, I feel differently about it now. This is a very interesting take on fantasy because it's all about warriors. It kind of takes from Greek mythology a little bit, but also like warrior clans and things like that. It was really, really cool, really interesting. There's like this mountain, and at the center of the mountain there's all this magic, and there's like angels and demons in it, I believe, and it was just a really cool world, and I really, really like it. I do want to continue the series. I just think I found that I wasn't in love with it, but then also there's a lot of adventure in it. It's all about them leaving their small town. There's a group of friends. Tolek's character is so funny in this. I really, really enjoyed it. I feel like he's going to be one of those characters as I continue to read that if anything happens to him, I will be devastated. And I can just tell that there's going to be so much adventure to come. So as much as I was a bit like, oh, you know, it's a 3.5 star read, I'm really excited for where the series is going to go. All of these like mythological animals that they come across, and they have to fight off, and they need to get to this mountain, and they will have to ascend. It's really cool. Very, very different. The writing style took me some getting used to as well, I remember. So I think also maybe that affected my star rating. When you go to a book that you feel like this writing style is quite different, you have to get used to it. By the time you get used to it, the book's kind of finished. But I really, really enjoyed it. So even though I gave it 3.5 stars, I feel like that's a bit harsh. Maybe like 3.75, I don't know. But I find it so hard to rate books where I know that they're definitely not 4 stars. So I'm like, where in the 3 stars do you lie? I find it quite hard to do that. But I really enjoyed it, and I am going to get the rest of the series because I thought it was a very unique world. That's kind of rude. My books just all fell over. I did also read Onyx Storm. Well, I started at the end of January, finished it in February, but I spoke about that in my January reading wrap up because I did actually film that after I finished Onyx Storm. So I did read that book, but obviously I'm not going to talk about it again. If you do want to see my thoughts on Onyx Storm and like Iron Flame, then you can watch my January reading wrap up. But yeah, God, I feel like I've been talking for ages. All in all, like, it's been good. Nothing's really disappointed me that much, but nothing's blowing me away. I need some more 5-star reads. I want some more 5-star reads. I've just picked my April TBR and I'm very excited for it. It's got a lot of books in there that I've been very much looking forwards to, and I was kind of saving them because I want to love them. But you know, you just, is anybody else like this? You're like, I'm saving them, but what am I saving them for? Why don't I just read them now? I'm very much one of those people, I'm like, I'm just gonna save that. I'll save that for later, and then I just never get around to reading it. So I'm gonna nip that in the bud from April onwards because we cannot continue. I want some 5-star reads. Anyway guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to leave comments down below for any future videos that you want to see. I've got so much planned. I had a mini hiatus from YouTube for a couple of weeks and I missed it so much. Like I love making content. It literally makes me so happy, and being away from it, I just really missed it. So I've got loads of content planned because I feel like I've got a little backlog of what I wanted to do. So that will all be coming soon as well. So to make sure that you're subscribed so you don't miss it, and I'll see you guys in my next video.